All right, ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for the delay, but as I always say, it's going to be worth it because we are getting ready for another Colory Championship Wrestling sold out huge show ahead and just in time for the trick or treat, the Halloween season. Because we've got a match here that we're going to talk about between two people that we've certainly spoke about a lot here on this show over the past several months. And as always, for very, very good reasons. And this is arguably going to be the main event of any company's show. And it's going to be for that new championship that our guest here has in his hands. He just won it back. And oddly enough, he's defending that title. And he's going to talk about that here and some at Colory of Souls 3 for a last Souls standing match with the Pitbull hybrid himself. And this has been a war. If you saw the CCW trainee show last month, you know that these guys, it's going to be more than personal, to say the least. Because he hasn't been back on in a while, and now he's a champion, he has to get that introduction that everybody else always gets here. So with that, wait for it. Further ado here on the Sports Report, number one global sports show. He is the reigning, defending, Carnage British champion of the world. He is the worker of Wall Street. Bang bang! The champ is here. How are you?
Well, after that introduction, I don't think anyone would be unhappy. But I'm doing fine. I'm doing good.
I'm glad to hear. Congratulations. I think the last I saw you literally on CCW TV, you've got now new hair. You've got obviously a good look. You look maybe you just came off the stock exchange in Wall Street. We joked about that the first time you came on here. Obviously, we'll get everybody on here shortly for the comments and different things like that. But obviously, champ, I was obviously going to start off and say, well, congratulations. You took the title from Prince Dagan. But yet here we are. You recently won the title not even 2 weeks ago. But this Saturday coming up at Colory of Souls 3, you're actually putting up that Carnage British Championship up in a last Souls standing match against the Pitbull hybrid. And for those that are listening and watching on Sportswire Radio, champ, why so soon put the title up?
The question is, why not? A belt like this caliber is supposed to be defended against everyone and anywhere. It's the simplest equation. This man hybrid thinks he's got the gift of the gab. He wants to be on posters. He wants to challenge for titles.
Said all that stuff here on Sportswire.
Why not after that double knockout? Why not after that double knockout? Why not give him that opportunity? And I was more impressed that the fact is he got up and then he attacked us straight after. We've just had a match. And that was disrespectful.
Okay, I mean, fair points here. And some of those things he said here on Sportswire Radio the last time he was on, not too long ago. But I mean, he's basically said that he, in the last words of his promo, he basically said he wants everything, meaning that he wants what you have, but also in addition to that, he wants back his World Underground Championship that he never got a title match for. So are you concerned that, sure, you said yourself, of course you're going to think you're going to win. Of course you're going to want to put the title up. But he's using you almost as an appetizer to the main course?
It's hybrid. That's the thing. He thinks he's smarter than everyone else. What he doesn't understand is there's a battle royale that night as well, where Prince Dagon is currently putting his belt up against everyone on the roster. So if he's still walking after he's had this appetizer, maybe, just maybe, we'll see each other in the battle royale.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because you guys have seen each other in a battle royal recently, not too long ago at the CCW trainee show, and you actually had the upper hand there. I mean, so that's got to make you feel good in a battle royal that regardless of the outcome, that you've actually got one over on the pit bull.
And that's the genius thing about it. That's one of the elite ways. I didn't actually go into that thinking or wanting to win. I wanted to go into that to get some payback on Hybrid for simply attacking me after that match.
Okay, I mean, obviously, we'll certainly see there, and obviously, we apologize. There's a little bit of a slow lag here, but okay. So we've seen each other in the battle royal, but let's talk about the match that a lot of people are still talking about here in CCW. You guys had a war. And sure, Hybrid said here in his promo yesterday, well, there's nobody that can stand up to him, and there's nobody bigger than him. He's 230 pounds. But you and him had such a war. And, I'm trying to think about this here. I've been covering CCW for a while, Walker, as you know. I think we're going on 2+ years now of coverage here in CCW. But I don't think I've seen a match with two heavyweights like you guys that went to a double countout. I mean, you want to talk about that match? Because that was literally a war.
To be fair to Hybrid, he came out all guns blazing. He went
did.
straight for the lockup. He grabbed me, chucked me to the floor. The guy's got some strength, but that doesn't. I've fought bigger guys. I've fought more powerful guys, and I still never back down. It doesn't matter who you are, what company you're in. I'll not back down from no one. So the way he came into that was the wrong attitude. He should have used his mixed martial art skills to tactically evade me and maybe work on my legs, maybe work on my arms so I couldn't grab him. But once I did grab him, I've never seen a man's soul leave his body so quick in his life.
Well, fair. I mean, certainly that's a fair point. I won't disagree with you on that. I mean, I won't disagree. And I mean, do you feel like then that maybe was he too cocky? Was he almost overlooking you? Because, it's funny, again, going back to his promo and your promo, I'll get to in a second. But I mean, it's funny because you're actually bigger than him. You're actually taller than him in size. And he may be the pit bull, but you're actually the guy that's got the size advantage. Although he said he has every advantage over you. But I say this objectively speaking, you do have one of the bigger advantages that anybody can have in a match like this, and that's the size advantage. Do you want to talk about that?
You see, the advantages that Hybrid say he has is he's got brains, he's got the looks. His looks doesn't get him anywhere in the ring. His looks aren't going to fight his battles for him. If anything, if he's got a pretty face, you want to make it uglier. He's thinking, well, the last match it didn't prove that he had any thinking. He didn't have any brain cells to comprehend with the match that we were having. So in this new match, it Collier Souls 3, it's going to prove whether he's been recapping, studying, and looking beyond what I can be defeated by, because it's going to take a lot. I am not, and I will not lose this so early on. I said to everyone that I'm going to be a fighting champion, and that's what I'm going to be. So his looks get him nowhere. His brain cells get him nowhere. And while his fighting ability, it's second to none garbage.
That's some strong words there about the fighting words there, and I actually will get to comments here shortly in a second. But I've been saying this a lot on Sportswire Radio Champ, and tell me your thoughts. And I've said this on a couple of different occasions here. We've had some different champions on here over the past week or two. And one of the things I've said is that the toughest title defense for a champion is the first title defense, because the first defense is the time where the challenger can feel, you know what, all right, Champ's got the title. There's a target on his back. There's a bullseye. He's vulnerable or she's vulnerable. But in this case, you're vulnerable. And I mean, how do you kind of overcome that? Because I do think whether you're in boxing, whether you're in wrestling or anything else, we see it all the time. That first defense, and sometimes or some way or another, is the toughest one. And you just won this title, and it's the first title defense right off the bat. What is your thoughts on that?
It's going to be tough. The guy knocked us out. But I think I've got the fans on my side. Them are
You
the
did.
people that
I will
cheer me
say
on.
that much. The
Them are the
fans, they were really behind you in that match. I mean, I heard the Walker, Walker, Walker. I mean, they were really behind you. So you're going to need that. So go ahead.
And I think they're going to carry that on. They don't want to see Hybrid as the champion. They absolutely despise that guy. He's nothing more than someone that he just wants to whine all the time. He wants to whine his way to the top. He's crying that he hasn't had his title defense. Well, why not go to the board and make it happen? Don't sit back. Because if I had a title defense, like a title rematch clause, you'd go to the board directly and you'd make the match happen. They can't withhold that. But he's the guy that's saying he hasn't got this. He hasn't had his rematch yet. He hasn't been on posters. He hasn't been in many main events. He's just a crybaby. Because if that was me, I'd be straight to the head of the table and I'd be in their faces demanding my rematch.
So why do you think then, and he spoke about this when he was on the show here a little over a month ago, he spoke about this directly. I mean, so you're saying that you would have done differently, and you don't think that his gripe is valid then, that basically he never got a title shot. When he was the champion here, he came on here twice when he was the champion. And, there was really he was, not to say that he was the side course, but he certainly wasn't in the main event. So, I mean, so you're saying you would have handled things completely different than if than he did.
If I was in his shoes, I'd have took any match, any place on that night to prove why I should be in main event. But he lost. And that's why he's at the bottom of the barrel.
Well, we'll have to find out here. I do want to get to some comments. Before I do that, I want people to follow Walker Wall Street on Instagram at Walker Wall Street. If you want to give him a friend request, I put that link up here on Facebook, and I will have an announcement for more CCW coverage. And I think I'm on. I'm on actually. I want to take your speakers off because I'm actually echoing.
Is that
Okay,
better?
let's see if that's better. That's much better now. So actually, no, it's not. No, it's not. I'm still echoing. Okay, well, that'll certainly do a little bit better. Okay, so let me get to some comments here, and we apologize for the technical difficulties. That is the magic of the World Wide Web. Want to say hello to another champion here, Mr. Jam Dog himself, who I definitely owe a spot here on Sportswire Radio, and I definitely want to bring him on here for sure. So definitely we'll bring him back on here certainly next month. There's a lot of people. It's a long list of people because A, I've been sick, and then B, I've been really behind on things. So we're catching up here. Speaking of people that we want to catch up with, on somebody that has over 1,000 subscribers that won the battle royal that you were in last month. And what a surprise that was. The Tribal Cheese himself, the Big Cheese, is in the house. He says, "Good evening, champ. Also hope the Rev is well. I shall be back to social soon and can't wait for that. Before the year is out, the Tribal Cheese is coming back to Sportswire, and he's going to have something to say, I'm sure, about this and much, much more in the landscape of Coloring Championship Wrestling. Want to say hello to our friends over in WCE. Hello, Jen's preparing to beat Craven Rage this weekend, end his 500-plus day streak, and become all-out champion. Yeah, I mean, that's what happens here. He's referring to your internet. We are in different countries, and things can happen. Not everybody has the same internet. But let me get to a couple of comments here, and I will kind of save one of those from a potential guest here Friday night. But let me get to the man that you're squaring off with. Well, you definitely got payback on me. Can't argue with that. I'm looking forward to this on Saturday. Your reaction, Walker Wall Street.
I'm looking forward to it too, to be honest. Like I say, it's last time, no one was a winner. This time, somebody is going to be a winner. And I can guarantee that's going to be me. I'm not losing this. I don't care what anyone thinks, anyone says. There's no chance in hell I am losing this belt to that guy. If I lose to that guy, I'm a disgrace to everyone. I'm a disgrace to the elite.
Well, you said that, and you admitted something that was interesting because we've talked a lot about the elite on the show here on Sportswire. This hasn't so much been the year of the elite, but now with you winning here, winning gold, maybe this what gets you guys back on track here and on preparing for maybe a bigger last few months and a year ahead. So talk about maybe in a way how big your match is also for the rest of the elite.
I think me winning this belt give the elite some hope. You know, we've got Logan. He's still learning. Logan's the guy that I used to be. He's still learning a lot. He's very eager. So when I won this, he was over the moon. He was joyful. Ronnie's in a hard place. But again, seeing me
Oh,
win
Roddy
this
right now.
just
I
proves
mean,
that there's no like I say, Ronnie right now, he's in the dumps, but he's got what it takes to get that belt back. He just needs to dig deep and go head for leather with Jam. There's nothing that you cannot do. He needs to pull everything out of the bag to get that back. But seeing me win this proves that elite do have strength. We don't need to have strength in numbers. We've got individual strength, and that's what makes us great. And Colin, he was just like a proud father.
I can imagine that. I'm going to put you slightly off for a second. Also here, well, I guess I won't spoil it just yet, but somebody we may be speaking with real soon says, "Evening, gents. Hello, champ Walker. I'll say now, congrats on the win this weekend, as I know you will be the victor." All right, so let me ask you. You can unmute yourself in a second, but let me ask you though: is this the biggest match of your career in CCW coming up here? Now that you've got your first defense here of the British Championship, is this the biggest match of your career ahead with somebody that's it's personal now between you and Hybrid?
Biggest match. It's definitely up there. It's probably my joint biggest match. When I fought Dagon for the Underground Champion book, fell short only because, well, they had the elite's old tactics, let's just say, and I fell short, but it didn't stop us. It thrived as if anything, and that's how I overcome Dagon to win this. And it's beautiful, to be honest. So I think it's definitely up there. I want to defend it. I want to cherish it, and I want to show it off. But I don't want to brag about it. I want to brag about it in the ring. I want to prove to everyone that this isn't going to be the last belt I hold. It's just the beginning.
What have you said to Ronnie Thatcher? Obviously, his position right now is a little tenuous right now in Carnage Championship Wrestling, but don't tell me everything. But basically, in a synopsis, what have you said to Ronnie Thatcher to try to bring him back up?
There's only one name that I can mention that changes Ronnie from being the nice guy to the bad guy, and then brings the bad guy back to the nice guy. And that is Carnage. And there's not many people that know what Carnage means when I say it to Ronnie. And when Colin says it to Ronnie, it's even worse. So, yeah, Carnage is the name, and Carnage is the answer. He just needs to find his Carnage again.
Well, we'll certainly find out here. And again, if you want to follow wrestling, you can certainly do so on Instagram at Colory Championship _wrestling. On Facebook, we put the Colory Championship Wrestling and the Carnage Championship Wrestling links up there. And also, Ronnie Thatcher will be live on the Carnage Championship Wrestling page, 9:30 p.m. So in an hour from now, you'll get a chance to hear Ronnie, and we'll be off the air probably in about 25 or 30 minutes or so. And also, if you want to see some previous CCW stuff here on YouTube, you can do that here also in the link I've provided. So there's definitely a lot of information to go join CCW, support this company. It has always been one of our premier companies here on CCW that to date that everything we like to do here on Sportswire, CCW has always been somebody that we like to continue to cover, and Walker Wall Street has always been that person. Okay, so now that you've got this title, though, and it's short notice, you're putting the title up, though. So how are you preparing yourself for a match that you know is going to be physical? We saw what happened last month, and we saw what you guys went through. So how are you preparing here just about 72 hours or so from Color Your Souls 3, Last Soul Standing?
It's studying. I train. I come up against bigger guys. I train with bigger guys, people that can hit harder than Hybrid. But that doesn't mean the guy can't win. He just has a very small chance of winning. So I watch every match back. I don't watch it once, twice. I watch it easy. Let's just say it 10, 20 times. And that's near a new fight that's been announced. So within the last week, I've watched my match with Hybrid, I'd say about 20 plus times. I know what his ins and outs are. So if that guy doesn't change his game plan, he's got no chance in hell.
It's interesting that you said that, though. That you watch the match so many times. I have guys come on here all the time and say, I watch it once and I kind of, or in some cases, want to put it past me. That match you watched 20 plus times. Why?
I always want to look out for failures. What I did wrong. What I can improve on. If you watch it once, it's not going to get stuck in your mind of what you've done wrong. It's going to be one of them dull moments. Oh, I lost. I just chuck it over my shoulder. I'll carry on. I'll improve next time. But how are you going to improve if you don't study what you've done wrong? If you don't study what the other opponents can do, how can you evolve from your failures?
That's fair. Let me actually get a comment here, a couple of them here. First, let me get to the man that was my most recent guest from CCW, and he is the man that actually, in part, eliminated you in the last battle royal you were in on the 30th of September. That is Mr. James Barris. Of course, he is the owner of Colory Championship Wrestling, and he says, "Are you scared at all of the pit bull? What I'm wondering is both use a spear. Whose spear is going to be the one that gets them the win?" Your reaction.
Am I scared? Nope. I've come up against Dagon. I've come up against Adrian Black. I've came up against Blizzard. Am I cautious? 1,000,000%. I'm going to be cautious because it only takes one punch. It only takes one mistake. But I would never say I'm scared. I'd never say I'm afraid of anyone. Because if you're scared or afraid of someone, why turn up at all? In Spear? Well, maybe. Just have to turn up or tune in to watch. And we'll see who Spear finishes who.
We'll find out. And also, what is the name of the barber? I was wondering the same thing because, I feel like what the last promo you did was what with Rio was yesterday or the day before, and I see new hair. I mean, you maybe should talk about that.
It's Halloween. And I just wanted something different. I just wanted something to change my mood. So I thought, new haircut, maybe a bit of my old self coming back out, because maybe I've just been a little bit timid. But the fans love it, so. But he doesn't need no barb. He's got no hair. He's bald.
That's true. No, listen, that's certainly true. But well, obviously, I'm going to leave the hair comment about Mr. Barris alone for a minute. I want to say hello to my friend Ron, who usually comes in here. Ron is from the state of Pennsylvania. Ron, how you doing? Nice to see you. Sorry about the Phillies in baseball, and I will come back to Mr. Barris in a second. But I've got a good question. I think it's a good time to actually say something here about this person because we're actually going to do something live here on Sportswire Radio. I believe Friday night around 7:30 p.m. British Standard Time. We are going to have Rico Justice here. And certainly Rico Justice is a man you know very well, and you got a chance to see him up close in that battle royal, and he certainly is having his war with James Barris. Let's put it kindly with that. But he has a good comment here, and I'm sure we'll follow up with that with your response maybe in the chat on Friday night, but at the very least, we'll hear from Rico live in your chair. And he says, Walker, question for you. Is there anyone you'd like to face that you haven't yet, not counting trainees? And also, don't bring up the tribal cheese because that's already come up when you were on the show in the summer. So, anybody other than the tribal cheese that you'd want to face here in CCW? Because I already have had this question asked to you. So, that would be my point.
I'd like to fight everyone. I would. I don't think there's anyone in particular that I would love to fight in CCW. I want to fight everyone. There will come a time where I have to fight Ronnie for something. There will come a time where I have to fight Logan for something. The Lilac Legion, Pandemus Black, Dagon, Adrian. But actually, you know what? There is one person. None other than James Barris, the man behind it all himself. That is definitely one person that I'd love to get my hands on and absolutely obliterate.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, I think I heard something here that I find very fascinating. That Walker Wall Street, our reigning, defending Carnage British champion, actually wants his hands on James Barris. That's right. I think I heard it here. I think I heard it loud and clear. Mr. Barris is here live, and Walker certainly wants to do his best to get his hands on Mr. Barris. And also, I have a bunch of comments from Mr. Barris himself. So he also wants to say, you have that fool on Rev. Well, I mean, he's coming on Friday. He has requested a microphone. He wants to address the nation. He wants to talk ahead of Color of Souls 3. And he's going to basically be our person to basically get us ready here just 24 hours or so from Color of Souls 3. So we're looking forward to that. And obviously, Rico, thank you for wanting to come on the show, and I'm looking forward to speaking with you and maybe asking you about Walker Wall Street, maybe asking you about Hybrid, maybe asking you about, oh, by the way, James Barris. The fans love it, or is that Sammy loves it? Well, okay, we'll have to see. And he also wants to point out, Mr. Barris, that he's not a bobblehead. And he says, you seen what I did to Justice, not once, but twice, Walker Wall Street, you fool. So I'm going to let you respond to that. What do you think on Mr. Barris there?
Bobblehead Barris. He calls everyone a fool, but he picks on the slightly underdogs. You know, he fought Dagon at his worst. He's fought Rico Justice twice. He got beat by Mr. OK. He's not fought someone with my caliber, someone like Hybrid's caliber, someone like Dagon's new caliber. So maybe he might have some brain cells, because why would he do that and degrade himself by looking like a fool when he gets dropped on his head and pinned or knocked clean out? But realistically, well, you never know, James. After I'm done with Hybrid, when I can guarantee a retain of this, maybe your head's on the chopping block next.
Well, we'll have to find out, as Judas Priest famously once sang from the voice of Rob Halford, some heads may roll, or will some heads roll? We'll have to find out when it comes to Mr. Barris and Walker Walsh. But Walker's definitely very occupied this weekend because he'll be in the ring with Hybrid in a Coloring of Souls 3 at the show itself in a Last Souls standing match here. So obviously, we always know the running joke is Mr. Barris is a bobblehead, so we see some of that back and forth. Walker will wipe the floor with bobblehead Barris. Well, I mean, I guess we'll have to find out first on how Walker does with hybrid. The Pitbull hybrid certainly had a lot to say in his most recent promo, and he seems very confident. But you know what, Walker, as he always does, always shows why he can hang in there. Barris, you were beaten, then you had help from the demons. Well, I'll ask Rico those questions Friday live here on the show, but I have a good one here. And that's actually, I don't think I've ever asked you this question. I think you've been on here like 3 or 4 times on Sportswire at least. And what has been your best match so far in CCW?
Just pop that belt down for a little bit. It's getting a bit warm. I think I've answered this vaguely, but I've got realistically 3, all for different reasons. The most entertaining and painful match, one-on-one with Blizzard, because the other guy that was in that ring, well, he didn't really last that long, so he doesn't count. I think for my feelings and the fans' feelings, when I become the British Carnage champion, because Dagon had some wise words and pulled my old self back to put him down. And then the most joyful one is when I became the first Genius of the Ring winner. So there's my 3, and they all have different meanings.
I may be the boss, but I can handle my own. I destroyed Dustin. Well, I mean, obviously, we'll find out here, but we are on Sportswire Radio, and I want to remind everybody if you want to follow CCW, you can do that here on Instagram at Cutlery Championship _Wrestling, Facebook, Cutlery Championship Wrestling, also Carnage Championship Wrestling. Also, check them out on YouTube. In about 45 minutes or so, Ronnie Thatcher will be live on the Carnage Championship Wrestling Facebook page. Make sure you check that out. We'll be on the air here for about 15 or 20 minutes. So hang on tight here. But my name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice of all wrestling, the host of the Sports Report, the owner of Sportswire Radio, the #1 global radio station. And again, we will be back here Friday afternoon here, New York time, evening UK time at about 7:30 or so with Rico Justice. Rico will be here live literally just 24 hours before Coloring of Souls 3. He'll get us ready for his huge match. Also, the rest of the card. Maybe he'll answer a few things here we've seen from the chat. And I look forward to being back here with Rico Justice. And we want to thank him for the opportunity here. Let me get to some comments here. The first fool of the ring, more like James Barris trying a job as stand-up comedian. Certainly, I will have to say, well, maybe that's not should be what he looks forward to doing. We'll want to see him in the ring and maybe outside the ring here, Coloring of Souls 3. Your hair would look better red if you get me. Well, that's an emoji, kind of a wink, wink, and a nod. But I think the blonde looks okay. I'm actually getting used to it. I don't think the hair is that bad. That's a good question, and I'll let you answer it. Do you think Hybrid has anything up his sleeve?
See, that depends. If he's in the bed with James Barris and Alfie Nerds, he could have anything up his sleeve. But whether he does or not, that'll determine what kind of man he is. Is he going to be a pit bull and fight his way out of it? Or is he going to be a little chihuahua and do all the bargain? Simple as that.
Fair enough. I mean, obviously, we'll certainly have to find out. I mean, so let me then ask you then, right before we're just about 72 hours or so from Coloring of Souls 3 in a last man standing match. I mean, what are your final words for Hybrid?
Take everything on board from that last match. become a better version of yourself. Come 1,000% better than you were last match. Because every dog has its day. On Saturday, maybe you're getting put to sleep. Maybe you're going to go on a little walk out of the ring and maybe chucked into the river. Because I'm not playing this silly game anymore with Hybrid. And to be fair, I've met the guy a couple of times. He says he doesn't respect me. But nobody really respects him. He's just another guy that's come, got a lucky opportunity, won the main belt, and then lost it all. He's got nothing to show for it anymore. So if he doesn't turn up on Saturday 1,000% better, he may as well not turn up at all. Because I can guarantee that he is not going to be leaving that ring the same guy who walked in it.
Are you saying, let me get this straight. Are you saying that Hybrid is basically one of these guys that is using CCW to get his way, and he's going to use this as a vehicle to leave this company high and dry, like some other champions that have held the World Underground title or other titles that basically left this company high and dry, proclaimed here on this show that they were CCW through and through and how much they loved this company. And then they ran and, breaking the fourth wall here, they ran and basically took their ball and went home and basically tried to create their own fiefdom because they couldn't cut the mustard in CCW. Is that what you're saying about Hybrid?
No, not really, actually. I just think he's got that attitude like them guys. He's got the attitude like that, them guys that ran away. They don't want to be here because they haven't got what it takes. But hopefully, on Saturday, when I knock a bit of sense into him, maybe he can see the right side. Maybe he can see the bright side and stay and prove his worth. He doesn't need to be the bad guy in this. He just needs to be the guy that turns up, fights like a man, and stay and prove to everyone why he should be champion. I don't think that's a hard thing to do. As long as you turn up and fight, people will see it, no matter the outcome of your matches.
I agree with you, though. I do agree with you that you have to show up and fight. He is a fighter, but I think what you said, was something I didn't expect. And again, it kind of have to address it in the fact that, listen, Hybrid wasn't a CCW guy from the very beginning. You have been here. You have been one of these mainstays that has always been, no matter what, CCW. And there's some other people that have come through these doors here. And, the facts are the facts. They couldn't hang here with guys like you. They couldn't hang with guys like Dagan. They couldn't hang with guys like Ronnie Thatcher, and they had to take their ball and they had to go somewhere else and create a playground for themselves with people that are certainly below the standards here at this company. I mean, that's the truth. I mean, the truth is what the truth is, and that CCW is a place that you've helped create, you've helped build, and some may say Hybrid is coming here and he'll get his way and then he'll take his ball and find somewhere else to play in a sandbox after he gets what he wants. And maybe you're just maybe defending your home playground. Do you feel that's a fair statement to make, that in a way this Saturday, not only are you defending the Carnage British Championship, but you're defending a company that you've helped create?
CCW is like a pick and mix. You get some things you love, you get some things you hate. But it's what's in here and in here that makes it worth staying. People don't see the connections, whether they're good, like the elite. Our connection's great. We might have our ups and downs, but that's what a family is. We might argue, but we always have each other's backs. Dagon's, Adrian's, then you got Lilith. Their bond's something supernatural. But then you have the upcoming talent of the Lilac Legion with Spawn and Persona, two absolutely phenomenal people that's in CCW currently. For small guys, they hit like trucks. And their bond is something that cannot be broken, and they've proved that already. And then you have Bobblehead Barris and Alfie Nerds. They're just like a love triangle. They hate each other, but they love each other. So maybe what you said's right. Maybe I'm defending something that I'm a part of. Maybe it's a family orientated thing that I can't let someone come and destroy. Whether we hate each other or love each other, no one can come into that ring and prove otherwise in front of me. I'll stand there and I'll fight all day, all night. I don't care who it is, but I'll prove why I should be in that ring each and every show.
I'll say this about you. I've known you a while. I've had you on several times on Sportswire. You have always been a fighter. No matter what the odds have been, you've been through a lot this year in CCW. You have certainly been through a lot. You've been in handicap situations. You've been in different situations where the numbers weren't in your favor, and the opponent certainly outthought you, but you never gave up. You've never quit. You've always been a fighter, no matter what happens. And that's why, you know what? It is poetic that you have the Carnage British Championship. And I think it is poetic that you are defending it against Hybrid, because I think that this has been one of the more personal feuds in CCW, certainly of the second half of 2023. And I think that's why a lot of people are looking forward to it. You know what? Hybrid is also right that this is a dream match. Yeah, everybody does say that Hybrid is a dream match to be in the ring with him, but for good reasons, because Walker Wall Street eliminated him in the trainee battle royal, and Walker Wall Street and Hybrid went to a double countout, and maybe the people want to see who is the best man, who is going to be that last soul standing. And you know what? Hybrid's right. Sure, he's come in here in a short amount of time. He won the Miners' Lamp. He won the world title. Absolutely. But you know what? Now we're going to see an environment, in an element that Walker Wall Street is comfortable in. Walker Wall Street's been here now for 3 years. Walker Wall Street's been here and has shown that, you know what, he's a top guy. And maybe, just maybe, Hybrid left something out, that he might have some advantages over Walker Wall Street, but there's one that Walker Wall Street has a huge advantage over the Pitbull in, and that's the size. We'll have to find out here if that's going to be what Walker Wall Street counts on and relies on to retain his Carnage British Championship here coming up this weekend at Cutlery of Souls 3 here. And let me get to a few more comments before I ask the champion one or two more questions. I've been insinuated, I think he meant to say insulted, for far too long. He has shown disrespect to his own boss, but I'll leave Hybrid to make him cry like a little fill in the blanks. Well, I don't know about that. Walker Wall Street, one thing I know about Walker the last year is that he doesn't cry, and he may lose, but he gets right back up, and I have to give him that, and that's why he's here, and that's why I think a lot of people are still counting on him, and that's why those fans chant, Walker, Walker, Walker. So we'll have to find out, and I'm not a bloody bobblehead. I feel like on Friday's show, Mr. Barris, you're going to be further called a bloody bobblehead. So I just have a feeling when Rico's on here, he's going to tell us why you're a bobblehead. Bobblehead Barris sucks. He's a bobblehead Barris. Well, again, on Friday's show, I am sure this is going to be a continuation of this. So Mr. Barris, when he was on the show a few weeks ago, certainly he might have had a little bit of a home field advantage, but I can promise you Friday with Rico Justice, I think Rico is going to tell us why further that he's the one that's going to make sure Mr. Barris is a bobblehead. And I would remind Mr. Barris that the Big Cheese Logan, the Tribal Cheese, at the last Battle Royal we saw at the trainee show, eliminated Mr. Barris. And what a surprise that was. So Mr. Barris is getting it from all sides. He also wants to tell me only the strong stay, Rev, and I agree with you on that. Only the strong. And I want to say this here, only the big boys play in CCW, and the big girls as well, but only the big people play in CCW, to put it in a better way. This is the company where if you make it here, you got to earn it. You got to cut your teeth here in this company. And to stay here, you got to make sure you keep your spot. And that's why people like Walker Wall Street are here. And they've made CCW the place to be and one of the top wrestling companies in the world, not just in the UK, not just in Durham, not just in anywhere else, but in the world. I want to say hello to my good buddy, Michael Blackheart, all the way from Indiana. His father-in-law is a referee, so I want to say hello to you, Michael. Michael was talking about how much he's a big fan of the shows on Sportswire, so I thank you, Michael, for tuning in. But you're catching us here at the end of the show because Walker's got a little bit of a technical difficulty, and I want to be respectful of his time. And also, Ronnie Thatcher on the Carnage Championship Wrestling page has a stream coming up here in a half an hour, and I want everybody to go over to that. And I also want to make sure I bring Ronnie on before the year is that I spoke to Ronnie, and Ronnie actually gave me a big birthday wish, and I told Ronnie I would bring him back very soon. So I can ask you a lot of questions, but we're obviously having a little bit of different issues here. So I want to ask you then these one of the last two questions. First, what does it mean to you to be the Carnage British Champion?
It means a lot. I think the fans showed why I deserved it. Them are the people that pulled me up when I was laying on my back. They were the people that got me basically back in consciousness when Dagon's knocked me out. So to be honest, it's not as much for me. It's for them. This belt is their belt. And I'm just the guy that's carrying it, standing at the front line and defending it.
What do you want to say to anybody who's coming out to Colory of Souls 3, particularly for your match, Last Soul Standing against Hybrid?
Well, to the fans, expect a war. This isn't going to be a playground. This isn't going to be tic-tac-toe or rock, paper, scissors. The only rocks that are getting thrown is our bare hands. Our feet are going to be in their faces when we're drop kicking each other. We're going to be swinging each other around the ring like two lockjawed monsters. No one's going to be able to tear us apart. The only people that can put us down is ourselves. And one thing I can guarantee is you fans won't be let down. You just won't be disappointed. It's going to be a thrill, and I just hope you're there to watch it firsthand.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're always excited about CCW, but something tells me here this match for the Carnage British Championship between Walker Wall Street and the Pitbull Hybrid, these two guys after this match are probably never going to be the same again. And this is a match, listen, every time we talk CCW, we always know we're going to be in for something. We're going to be in for a treat. So if you have a ticket, consider yourself a very lucky person coming up this weekend because Halloween starts a little early. I have no doubt that we are going to have a trick or a treat. The question's going to be who's the trick and who's going to be pulling the tricks when it comes to this match for the Carnage British Championship between Walker Wall Street, the current champion, and the man who claims he wants everything. That is Hybrid. The man that claims he wants to be back on posters. The man who claims that he still hasn't gotten his rematch for the World Underground Championship. We're going to find out all of that here this weekend and some. And as a reminder, we will have more CCW coverage coming up this Friday night, Friday afternoon, New York time with Rico Justice, who makes his debut to Sportswire Radio. And undoubtedly, he's going to be talking a lot about James Barris and no doubt about this and who knows what else is on the landscape of CCW. Michael wants to say hats off and ham sandwiches. I appreciate the joke, I suppose. Bobblehead Barris. I think that's what I'm going to remember all day Friday. We're going to hear Rico, and it's going to be Bobblehead Barris. We're going to hear those chants. We're going to hear him. But you know what? I know one thing, ladies and gentlemen. There is going to be Walker Wall Street chants of Walker, Walker, Walker. And Walker very well may need those chants here. I could ask you a lot of things. I would have liked to have asked you a few more things, but obviously we're having a little bit of a feed connection, but we're going to definitely bring you back for sure before the year is out. And by the way, I want to say this before I get to your closing thoughts. I'm starting a Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, and okay, so I want to say this last thing before I get to closing thoughts, and last thing before I get to closing thoughts with you. I'm starting a Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, and this is basically to celebrate my 5 years on Sportswire. And I think I'm going to have to induct you into that Hall of Fame because now you're a champion. The fans love you. You're in this war with hybrid. So at some point before the year is out, to basically commemorate my 5-year anniversary, I have a new website coming out. I have my blog coming back in the works, and we'll make sure that I get you on. I induct you into my Hall of Fame if you would accept. But certainly I want to give you the floor now as Ronnie is actually coming on live now. So let me give you the floor. Let me give you some closing thoughts. Anything else you want to plug, share, or say, champ? The floor is yours.
Well, first of all, that would be an honor. Maybe that's just another thing that hybrid doesn't have. But I'd definitely accept. And for the fans, just be there. You're going to witness something amazing. You're going to see the Lilac Legion beat the crap out of Dagon and Adrian Black. And then it's going to be a guaranteed crowned new underground champion, which myself and Logan are in that. So it doesn't matter who's going to be in the final. We're going to be there. So if you guys are there, I can guarantee I'm going to be there. I'm going to be still walking in with this. And anyone else after hybrid. If you want it, just come and get it. It's as simple as that.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to follow Walker Wall Street, you can do that on Instagram at Walker Wall Street. Also, if you want to check him out on Facebook, you can do so at Walker Wall Street. And I am certainly looking forward to this match and the entire card upcoming for Coloring of Souls 3. And we will see Walker Wall Street put up that brand new, recently won Carnage British Championship title that he earned over Prince Dagan. He's going to be defending that title against the Pitbull Hybrid, the former CCW World Underground Champion, in a last soul standing match. You can follow and watch CCW one more time, all the great things that they are doing on Instagram, Coloring Championship _wrestling, Facebook, Coloring Championship Wrestling, Carnage Championship Wrestling. Also, YouTube, check them out for prior shows, prior videos, prior promos. You can check all that stuff out here. And again, my name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, the host of the Sports Report, the owner of Sportswire Radio, your voice of all wrestling. I'll be back here Friday night with Rico Justice, and you certainly have a fan, Bobblehead Barris. I think I'm going to do it in Bobblehead Barris. Because that's what we're going to be hearing a lot Saturday and Friday night. And let's go, Walker. Definitely, Walker. We're going to see. You put me in a tough spot because Hybrid's somebody I've had on here a bunch of times, and you're somebody also that we're going to induct into the Hall of Fame. So what I'm hoping for is a great match. I'm looking forward to it. I think this is going to be one for the ages. I guarantee one thing, you guys both won't be the same, but I know one thing else. We'll definitely be talking about it here on Sportswire Radio. Congratulations on winning the Carnage British Championship. I'm looking forward to what the future may bring for you, and I can't wait to induct you in the Hall of Fame before the year is out. And congratulations on all the success, and I am getting used to the hair look, so maybe you should keep it.
Thank you very much, Tom. It's been a pleasure as always.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Walker Wall Street, our reigning defending Carnage British Champion, and he is here just about 72 hours or so before his match for that Carnage British Championship against Hybrid the Pitbull in a last soul standing match. You can find out more information in the CCW links below, and certainly Ronnie Thatcher is now live on the Carnage Championship Wrestling page. Check that out. Go watch it. And my name again is the Reverend Tom Bryce. If you are on YouTube and Twitter, I will be back again Friday night with Rico Justice to get you ready for more coverage of Coloring of Souls 3. Until then, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on the #1 global radio station that is Sports Sportswire Radio. Thank you, everybody, and good night.